Hello there. It's Nintendo Nightly. Michael Cottrell here, trying to deliver your Nintendo news for the day in a bite-sized format. That's the thought of the show. Hope you enjoyed my little rewind on the Nintendo Switch that I did a couple of days ago. It was a Saturday episode. Usually this is a Monday through Friday podcast, but got you an extra episode on Saturday, and I was short an episode on Monday. So, I guess the checkbook is balanced, Mom. So anyway, today, just want to talk about a news story that came out late last night. And I am going to be staring at my computer a little bit here because I don't want to get any of these details wrong, and it gets a little bit in the fine print, as you'll see. So, my Nintendo, for the longest time, an entire year since the Nintendo Switch came out, has not had any rewards that can go toward Nintendo Switch purchases and games. And now we know why. So, new changes have been rolled out. You're able to now use the gold points that you get from the Nintendo Switch. So these are also known as the points that you get for buying games on the Nintendo eShop or by registering them through the physical purchase that you have. You get more of these coins for the digital purchase because Nintendo wants to train you to do that. More on that in a moment. But now they're bringing it to a 5% little bonus for digital purchases and 1% for physical purchases. And there is an asterisk here that is saying for physical purchases that's going to be awarded 1% of the eShop price for the digital version of the game, and that's going to be weird. I imagine that they're going to tie some sort of number to each game release, so I don't imagine you'd be able to purchase used copies and redeem these. They used to give out points for surveys, but that is not the thing anymore, and that's kind of what the conversation of what I want to talk about today. My Nintendo has always been an interesting thing. It started out as a way for customers to share feedback with Nintendo, so every time you purchase a game, you could give them feedback on the game itself, as well as just some opinions that you have for Nintendo in general. So every time I bought an eShop game, I would tell them that their eShop games are overpriced, particularly the virtual console ones, and I suppose that part fell on deaf ears, but here we are a little bit later on. The rewards used to be all sorts of cool things, from Luigi's Mansion statues. You could buy a towel with Mario's face on it. You could get a little notebook. I got a Donkey Kong notebook with like graph paper in it. I wish I had brought that today. I'll show that to you sometime. Check us out on Instagram, and I'll see that. I'll post a picture of that whenever I find it. No promises. But nowadays, they stopped doing the physical rewards, I imagine, because it's just kind of a nightmare to do shipping and fulfillment. That's just an industry in its own. And they started doing digital stuff. You would usually get a 40% discount on software. So I just spent a couple of platinum coins, which are the coins that you can earn by doing in-game rewards, signing into Nintendo once a week, little free things like that. So I was able to discount Super Mario 3D World from $20 to $14. That was pretty cool to get a mainline series Mario game for $14. You don't get that every day, I tell you what. So nowadays, that's what they do, and with the Nintendo Switch, we've had no option up until now, and here it is. So you've got gold points that apply toward your game purchases. Here's all of the legalese behind it, however. The gold points expire after 12 months on the last day of the month in which they were earned, so I'm about to have a lot of money just drop out because for the launch of the Switch, I bought a bunch of games digitally, and we're going to see those points just kind of vanish from my account if I don't figure out something to spend them on. And that's my biggest gripe with it, honestly, is that, you're talking about 5%. So to get a free $60 game, you'd have to spend $1,200. It's a lot of money, and definitely more than most of us would spend in a year on the Nintendo Switch. And so this is probably going to be your thing where you can get a little discount on some games that you like, or grab a smaller indie title that is $20, $15, and not much else. I imagine the other thing you might use it toward are DLC packs, so if you wanted to grab the Breath of the Wild DLC and you have spent, what is that, a fourth of $1,200, then there you go, or a third of $1,200. If you spent like $400 in the eShop, then you could grab the Zelda DLC on the house. And the limitation to that, of course, is that you can't use that on automatic renewals, in-game items, or virtual currency, all your microtransactions. But, you know, microtransactions are designed to make you shell out hundreds of dollars, so it's not like that's going to be a thing anyway. So one last bit of whining here on my part. My Nintendo used to be one of my favorite things. I loved submitting my feedback to the company. I loved the treats that would come along with it. And, you know, honestly, a discount on a game isn't worth as much as a free game, or as much as a cool little memento with Donkey Kong or Mario's face on it. You know, that I just I'm a little bummed out about the options here, because it sounds like this is just going to be the straightforward option. It's 5% back. You have to use it within a year. So unless you're spending a lot of money, you're not really going to get much from this. Your occasional indie game, your occasional DLC, and that's a little disappointing considering some of the really cool My Nintendo rewards that we used to get. And this is talking specifically to North America. There's different regions will do their own thing with some of this, and so, but this is the deal that we've got. Now, let's talk about what kind of game Nintendo's trying to play here with encouraging certain user behavior, because this is, of course, trying to, you know, for one, just recommend that you buy more stuff from Nintendo, more Switch stuff, but specifically from the eShop. And this is kind of a long-winded strategy that I think they're going to continue doing, where they're trying to ease people into digitally purchasing a lot of these items that we used to go get at GameStop, Target, so on and so forth, and a lot that we still get. You know, I know a lot of people, I talk to them online, that prefer the physical version over the digital. My brother's been a long-standing physical guy. I've been going digital since it was available. I like the idea of building a little library inside of my system that I can just bounce from game to game to game, and when I travel, I just have to pack my system. I don't have to pack all the game cases. You know, I don't have to buy one of those weird serial killer cases where you keep all your different cartridges inside. You know, I just take the system and I'm good, which is great for the feature set of the Nintendo Switch. Now, the trouble here, the tricky dance that they have sort of entered in with, is while they're trying to slowly encourage this, they still need the physical presence. Not just because there are people that are still going to buy the physical versions, but they don't want to get on the bad side of the people that they work with, specifically the retailers, your Targets, your Best Buys, so on and so forth. You want them to promote your games, you want them to sell your games, you want their salespeople to tell mom and dad or grandma to pick that up for Christmas, and so they still want to have a physical presence. This is just a nice little way of giving those digital adopters a little bonus. And the reason, of course, is that, you know, every time a physical game is sold, there's an extra person that needs to get paid. An extra few people. You know, you have to manufacture the game, you have to ship the game, and then you have to sell the game. Those are, you know, 3 different parties that get paid part of the game's proceeds. And with the digital version, it's more for the developers and sometimes more for Nintendo. They typically get the same kind of licensing fee, but I imagine it might be higher with the eShop service. I know it's around 30% when you purchase a game from the eShop. So that's another reason I've always bought digitally, is more money goes to the developers. And not that I, you know, I hate retail stores or anything like that, but games are often kind of a tough business. And if I enjoy a game, I really want that money to go to the people who are going to be able to make another game. You know, Target and Walmart and all of those companies, I'm sure they'll be fine in one sense or another, but you never know when a game company can shut down, or a big game company can shut down a game that you like, or a game series, just because it didn't sell enough. I mean, Fire Emblem was almost at the breaking point for Nintendo. You know, Awakening was supposed to be the last game, and if that game didn't sell well, we could have seen the last of Fire Emblem, at least for a large amount of time. And now we've got Fire Emblem Warriors, we got 2 more Fire Emblem games on the 3DS, and Fire Emblem Heroes on the iPhone. You know, another Switch title that's supposed to be coming this year. I don't know if it's going to make it this year, guys, but you know, really cool bounce back nonetheless, and I want to continue to see all my favorite franchises do well in that sense. So that's why I've been buying digitally, but this is another little icing on the cake. But that's the tricky dance that they have to play with retailers, and that is the bonus that they're going to try and give us. So I'm a little disappointed about this news. I thought with the whole like coming soon and it taking an entire year to happen, to culminate into what it is, I was thinking that we might get something a little more special, but that's not the case. This is where it stands, so I gotta go find something to buy with my gold coins, or I'm gonna have a bunch of it evaporate from launch. But what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to know what you think. Do you buy physically or digitally? Is this gonna sway your opinion at all? Do you think this is cool? Do you think it's dumb? Let me know in those comments. Whatever platform you're listening on, Nintendo Nightly is a podcast and video show, so if you like the video version, go and find it on YouTube. If you like the audio version, SoundCloud, iTunes, podcast services. I don't entirely know how that works, but I've got an RSS feed and it puts things places. If you found this video helpful, you want to stay up to date with all the Nintendo happenings Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday when I'm hitting you with a little treat, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And yeah, so that's all I got. That's all I got. Go home now. Let's go home.